Dell XPS 13, 2018, 9370 review, the Sexiest 13.3 in Windows 10 laptop. Design and features. Dell hasn't deviated far from its now 3-year-old XPS 13.3 in design, but there are a few differences that set the new model apart from previous generations. The 2018 model now comes in a machined aluminium rose gold and alpine white woven glass fiber combination. To my eyes, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm not one to normally go for a rose gold device, but the new XPS 13 is certainly one I'd consider. Worry not, if you're not a fan of the new color scheme, you can opt for the platinum silver with black carbon fiber finish, instead. The design doesn't stop at the color scheme. As I plugged in the charger, I noticed a small white LED that illuminates the cable, and a small LED strip running along the front strip of the laptop. This helpfully lets you know when the laptop is charging. As for physical size, the new model is 30% thinner and lighter than last year's model, just 11.6 mm slim at its thickest edge and 7.8 mm at its skinniest. It weighs 1.21 kilograms, which is 6% lighter than the outgoing model. To accommodate the lighter frame, Dell shrunk the size of the battery, although the company claims that battery life hasn't taken a hit. I'll get on to that later. There are changes on the connectivity front as well, with Dell ditching the full-sized USB Type-A port on its edge. That's a pain for attaching USB peripherals, but Dell makes up for it by increasing the number of USB Type-C connections. The new XPS 13 has 3 of these, with one reserved for charging and the others supporting Thunderbolt 3. There's also a microSD card reader and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Display. The 16:9 Infinity Edge display makes another appearance in this year's update, but this time with an anti-reflective coating. Use the XPS 13 under bright ambient light and you'll find it easier to make out what's on your screen. Combine this with a 454 CD per square meter peak brightness, as measured with the i1 Display Pro calibrator, and the XPS 13's IPS display is plenty bright enough for any situation. To give you some context, the HP Spectre 13, 2018, only manages a measly 348 CD per square meter. Of course, brightness doesn't automatically mean the screen is any good. Well, with an average delta E of 2.49 and a maximum of 7.95, the XPS 13 isn't the laptop you'd choose for professional photo or video editing, where the Huawei MateBook X Pro's 3:2 display trumps it with scores of 1.27 and 2.53, respectively. It's a similar story with sRGB gamut coverage, with the Dell XPS 13 managing 90%, while the MateBook X Pro covers a near-perfect 96.2%. The result is that the Dell looks a little less vibrant, though the contrast ratio of 1565 to 1 is in line with its rivals. Subjectively, it's still a fantastic-looking screen. Performance. Stacked inside Dell's laptop is a 1.8 GHz quad-core Intel Core i7-8550U that reaches a 4 GHz boost clock, and 16 GB of LPDDR3 2133 MHz RAM to aid with multitasking. The combination is spectacular, transforming the Dell into a mini powerhouse. In the expert reviews 4K media benchmarks, the XPS 13 netted an outstanding score of 96. By comparison, the HP Spectre 13 and MateBook X Pro only managed 63 and 76, respectively. In the Geekbench 4 benchmark, the XPS 13 scored a very impressive score of 4,744 in the single-core and 15,047 in the multi-core test. The HP Spectre 13 is a stone's throw away at 4,648 and 13,158, respectively. Battery life is yet another strength. The new XPS 13 manages to stay alive for 10 hours 7 minutes in expert reviews battery test, an incredible result for a small 13.3-inch laptop. As you'll be able to see above, it outperforms its competitors and then some. How Dell and Intel managed to squeeze this much from a smaller capacity lithium battery is beyond me, but their efforts should be applauded.